Out on the road.
A massive new bill at the state legislature sets up a plan for how we're going to finance a brand new Major League Baseball stadium in Utah. I have all the details straight ahead.
And it was profoundly disappointing not to receive just that time.
Well, before voting to advance those two bills this morning, the House Government Operations Committee also voted to advance a bill that would create yet another state board. The Utah legislature just unveiling a plan to help fund a stadium to bring a Major League Baseball team to Utah.
And it's given some folks heartburn over using taxpayer money for it. News specialist Lindsay Ertz is here with details on it. And Lindsay, how much are we talking about?
Yeah, Mike, all told, we're talking about $900 million in taxpayer-generated money. This would be over 30 years and would go to help build this stadium and the surrounding Fair Park area. But we're not just cutting a blank check for this money. What the legislature is proposing is setting up a specific entertainment district in the Fair Park area. A board will govern it who can levy a variety of taxes to raise that money. Now, this plan includes using any property taxes generated by the proposed development to pay for infrastructure and other amenities within it. Now, the state and this board will essentially lend this money to the owners of the team, presumably the Millers, and they will be paying to rent the stadium back from the state. Now, state leaders say while taxpayer money is being used, they see it as a reinvestment into the area.
All the money that will be used is money that we think will be generated from the increased activity that will come to Utah. So it's basically a transient room tax, which is hotels, and car rental tax, and then tax within the project area. So we believe that will actually, the baseball stadium will actually create more revenue than we will pay, and out-of-state residents will pay for it.
Now, as it's written right now, the bill provides for bonding for half of the actual cost of developing and constructing this stadium. The stadium must have at least 30,000 seats, parking, lighting, plazas, and open space. Now, if the team leaves the area before 30 years is up, the owners would then have to repay this district back for the taxpayer money it used. Now, the legislation does have a deadline of 2032 for the Millers to sign an expansion deal, and lawmakers only have 7 working days to hash out all these details. Reporting live in Salt Lake City for Live at 5, I'm Lindsay Ertz. Back to you.
All right, Lindsay, no one said baseball was cheap, right? No one's ever said that.
I've never heard that.
Right, thank you.
Kevin joining us now. It's a little
Press already made.
Coming up at 6:30, a massive new bill on Utah's Capitol Hill unveils a plan for how we're going to finance a new Major League Baseball stadium. I have all the details straight ahead.
You're watching KSL News at 6.
The legislature has unveiled a plan to help fund a stadium to bring a Major League Baseball team to Utah, but it's giving some people heartburn over using taxpayer money to build it. Lawmakers call it a reinvestment in the Salt Lake's Fair Park area. News specialist Lindsay Ertz has more on the bill and how neighbors are feeling.
Isaac Atencio grew up in Rose Park. He now owns the Salt Lake Barber Company right down the street from the proposed site of the new Major League Baseball park.
I think this is huge for the area. You know, this part of town has statistically always been kind of underrepresented, underfunded.
And funding for the proposed stadium is what lawmakers have just unveiled, using close to $1 billion of taxpayer-generated money to help build it.
It's easy to kind of be misled by a headline. You see taxpayer money, and yeah, nobody wants to, you know, have increase in tax expenses and such. But I think the fine print kind of speaks for itself.
That fine print, the bill proposes setting up a specific entertainment district from I-80 North between 1000 West and Redwood Road. A board will govern it, which can levy a host of taxes to raise that money. Hotel taxes would go up statewide, as well as things like rental car taxes.
We believe that will actually, the baseball stadium will actually create more revenue than we will pay, and out-of-state residents will pay for it.
The plan also includes any property taxes generated by the proposed development to go back into infrastructure and other amenities within this specific Fair Park district. Senate President Stuart Adams says he sees this plan as an investment in the area.
A rising tide lifts all boats, and I think you'll see the tide rise.
The money that gets raised is then lent to the owners of the team, presumably the Larry H. Miller Group, to build the stadium. They then pay to rent the stadium back from the state. The Millers have also kicked in their own $3.5 billion.
We have negotiated the fact we will own the stadium. That's a big deal.
The bill also stipulates that the stadium must have at least 30,000 seats, parking, lighting, plazas, and open space. And if the team leaves the area before the 30 years is up, the owners would have to repay the taxpayer money. And for shop owners like Atencio, he welcomes the change this could bring.
The status quo over here for the longest time has been check cashing spots, rent-to-own furniture, vape stores, and it's time to see something a little bit better for the neighborhood.
Now, this bill also has a stipulation that the Millers would have to sign an expansion deal by 2032. Lawmakers also only have 7 working days to pass this. I'm Lindsay Ertz for KSL-5 News.
Lindsay, thank you. Californians bracing for the possibility.
Taxpayers could be footing the bill for a new stadium if Salt Lake City lures a Major League Baseball team. A bill in the legislature provides $900 million over the next 30 years. It would also create a tax district and a board which would levy new taxes to help pay for it. The bill has a deadline of 2032 for a potential team owner to sign an expansion deal. If the team were to leave before then, they'd have to pay it back.
All right, so imagine buying tickets to a show.